Alright then gang, so one of the best things about PWAs is their ability to be used offline without an internet connection. Now this is going to be really useful in a lot of situations. For example, imagine you're on a train and you're going under a tunnel and you lose signal. Or maybe you're in your local library which has really cruddy Wi-Fi or something like that. Basically in places where the internet is limited or unavailable for some period of time. Now we can emulate this behavior, this offline behavior, by either clicking this offline checkbox here under Service Workers in the Application tab, and I'm going to do that. Or you could also do it in the Network tab right here where it says offline, and you see when I ticked this one, it automatically checked this one over here. So you can enable it and disable it in any one of those places. Now with that checked, if I reload, then we're going to get this no internet page right here from Google. Now PWAs are going to be great in these cases because they are going to have the ability to load content offline so that we'd still see something right here instead of this. So it won't matter that you suddenly lose connection for a minute or so. You'll still maybe be able to navigate around the app and see content instead of this default error page right here, with some limitations of course. So how does this all work? Well, at the heart of it is going to be the Cache API. And you can see we have this cache storage down here. Now, in a nutshell, if we cache something, we store it away somewhere for later use. So when we talk about caching assets or things like that, we're talking about storing assets locally somewhere so that we can access them when we need them, i.e. when we are offline. Now, there's a couple of different kinds of caches which control the storing of resources. We have a browser cache, which works automatically, and that cache speeds up websites by caching things like images so that you don't have to constantly download them every time you load a web page. But the problem with that cache is that we don't directly control it, or we don't tell it what to store and what not to store. It kind of just manages itself. So it's not overly reliable. And in fact, what I'm going to do is disable the cache over here, the browser cache, so that doesn't get in the way of what we're doing, because the second type of cache is one which can be controlled by us with service workers and regular JavaScript. And this is the type of cache that we'll be using because it's going to give us ultimate control over what we want to store in the cache, and then we can retrieve it when we need it. So then we have our web app over here, which might be running in a mobile browser. And we also have a server way over here, which holds some resources for our app. Now, initially, when we load the app in a browser, then we're going to be making fetch requests to get, say, the index page or something like that. And then we show it to the user in the browser. Now, don't forget, we have our service worker sitting right here, acting as a proxy between our app and the server. So that intercepts all different fetch requests that go through it. Also, we have our cache over here, which could be empty to begin with. Now then, what this service worker could do when we first load our application is say, hey, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to the server and I'm going to get some assets from the server and store them in the cache. So these assets could be things that we might need in the future. Things like another page or some more CSS or more images or JavaScript. So we're retrieving those from the server and then we're putting them in the cache, and the service worker is doing all of this for us. We're not doing it from the browser. The service worker is preempting it and it's storing those assets in the cache ready for the future. So this is known as pre-caching. Now in the future at some point, say we lose connection, we don't have a connection anymore and we're offline, and we navigate to a different page, for example, which uses different CSS or different images or even just a different HTML file. Now, when we load that page, the browser is still going to try and request these resources from the server. It's still going to send that network request. However, because we're offline, it's never actually going to reach the server. But hang on, we said that the service worker could intercept fetch requests. So when this happens, the service worker could look at these fetch requests for these new resources and say, hang on, instead of you trying to reach out to the server, what I'm going to do is look for these resources inside the cache, because earlier on I pre-cached a load of different assets. Now, if I've got those resources, I'm going to take them and return them as a custom response to the browser. So we don't need to go to the server anymore. I can return those resources from here. So this is going to enable the user to see these resources and navigate around the website, even though they're offline, because we have these resources pre-cached. And that is the joy of service workers. They can do this for us. And this kind of behavior is not only good when we're offline, but also when the internet connection might be bad, or even when it's okay, because the service worker getting assets from the cache is much quicker than a round trip from the server. So if we pre-cache assets with the service worker when the application first loads, then we can improve the performance of our app for the future in offline mode, but also in online mode as well. So we're going to take a look at how we can do this in the code in the next video.